Hello and welcome to NJ Thrive Small Business Webinars. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, and you are attending one of our weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. Thank you for joining us today. If you are new here and you are joining us for the first time, we appreciate you being here and we hope that you continue your journey with us as a client with the NJSBDC. And if you have been attending our webinars, then thank you as well for joining us, and we appreciate your support. My name is Uzma Sheikh. I'm a consultant here at NJSBDC, and we are America's New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. We are a network and a statewide program powered by the SBA, Small Business Administration, and partners like NJBAC to help small businesses in New Jersey with three main things. And those things are no-cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. If you'd like to learn more about NJSBDC, go to njsbdc.com and find out where our 11 regional centers throughout the state of New Jersey are located, any upcoming events, any information, any resources that you'd like to find out. Go to njsbdc.com and find out more. All right, so the webinar that you're attending here today is part of a multi-session webinar series. We started this series back in November, I believe, October or November. And this was created to provide startup assistance to help New Jersey's aspiring entrepreneurs start, grow, and thrive. And since then, we've seen great success in the numbers of aspiring entrepreneurs register their business with our help. All right, agenda. Excuse me, agenda. We have a couple of headlines that I'd like to share with you. Then we have our presentation and then a Q&A session afterwards. These are the headlines of the week. I will go through them very briefly and I will share the links for these headlines that we share after I'm done sharing my screen. And these headlines are just events or press releases or news articles that are happening in the state of New Jersey that we like you to be aware of. First is from NJEDA, New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Alongside us, of course, NJEDA is a great resource for small business owners in the state of New Jersey. So always, always, always keep an eye out on their press releases. We share them often, every week. In fact, this one is applications for NJEDA $20 million Emerging Developers Grant Pilot Program. The applications are open. This program helps developers gain access to capital and build additional capacity to expand their existing portfolio by providing grants of up to $250,000 for pre-development soft costs. All right, so who, what, when, why, all of that information is here. Let's see, applications are open. They can be assessed here on this link, and applications will be accepted on a rolling basis or until funds have been exhausted. You can find out more on this website or email them if you have any questions at this email address. Second is a press release from the SBA, Small Business Administration. Definitely keep this resource in your loop to check out every week as well. So this one says SBA invests over $1 million to expand support for veteran entrepreneurs, organizations to provide critical training and counseling for startups and existing small businesses. So let's see, this was published just a couple of days ago. $1 million, as we mentioned, critical training to VBOX, all right, Veteran Business Outreach Centers. And this is for training and counseling to aspiring and existing veteran small business owners. New funding will make awards of up to $400K, up to 3 entities. All right, Boots to Business Root Boot, Military Spouse Pathway to Business. If you are a veteran yourself or a veteran spouse, then they will be having information sessions, or just if you know someone who might find this helpful, forward over this link to them. This will have information sessions on these dates and times. They also have a contact person and a phone number if you're interested in contacting them. All right, another press release from NJEDA, over $9 billion in economic impact credited to NJEDA's North Brunswick Incubator. Analysis finds that this incubator has been an integral resource for the state's life sciences sector and a driver for the state's overall economy. Pretty cool stuff. This is a location here in North Brunswick, and it lists all the achievements, all the information about the incubator. If you're ever interested, email them, check this press release out. Next, we have Founders First, Pennsylvania, New Jersey Job Creators Grant, a total of $50,000 to be awarded to Pennsylvania, New Jersey businesses. Deadline to complete application is June 25th, 2024, which is today. So if you think that this is helpful to you and if you'd like to apply, really hustle this. The deadline is today. These are all the eligibility requirements. You're really need to have all your documents and everything ready for you to apply. Let's see how it works. Full complete application with the P&L statement, short pitch video, your business organization chart. Applications will be reviewed. Grant semifinalists will be selected, and then all 10 grant finalists will be announced during a live press event. Pretty cool stuff, and I think they have this annually, I believe. So always keep an eye on that. And last headline is for Propelify Innovation Festival, powered by Tech United. And we're honored to be one of the partners for this amazing annual festival that happens. All right, and these are the 2024 speakers. So Governor Phil Murphy, Mark Lord, Caroline Everson, all the big names that you can find in the industry, tech industry. All right, these are the past festival. If you ever want to find out the agenda, this is an in-person in-person event. So it will start at 11 a.m. and end at 8:30 p.m. If you'd like to select your tickets, these are the options. All right, we forgot to do one thing, and I wanted to mention, and I wanted to ask everyone in attendance today to just share some information about yourself. We usually say this in case anyone can find their supporter, their cheerleader, I always say. So feel free to share information about yourself, about your business, why you're in attendance today, if how you find out about this webinar, anything you'd like to share. And moving on to some rules, some things that you should keep in mind. If you have any questions for our speaker, please put them in the Q&A box that is right next to the chat box. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to let us know in the Q&A box as well. Complete a brief survey, you'll receive the slides from the speaker. And this webinar is being recorded, so you will receive the link in the chat. If you ever want to rewatch, the video will be available on our YouTube channel as well as our video library. All right, so Vanessa Schwartz is our speaker today, and Vanessa has been so great and kind and has been doing this for the past several months for us. This is, of course, session 28 on Mastering New Jersey Business Registration with the NJSBDC. Vanessa, welcome. Thank you for being with us here today as well. We appreciate it always. And go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me, Uzma, okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to be here. Hope everybody's having a nice start to their summer. I'm going to share. Okay, I think that looks good. Everybody, you see that okay, Uzma?
Yes. You're
okay,
good.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. So welcome. I think it's fantastic that you are taking the time to learn about business and business startups and what you need to do to be responsible in your journey to start your business and get all the resources available to you so that you know what you're doing. And we say whether you're someone who just is looking to take that hobby to the next level, or you're interested in pursuing a little bit of a side hustle, or maybe you are in a professional career and have decided that it's time to think about entrepreneurship and taking it on the road and doing it for yourself. We are a resource. We offer no cost counseling. and one-on-one, private confidential counseling to be a mentor, to assist you in the process, to guide you. If we don't know the answers, we're certainly happy to provide the resources or try to point you in the right direction. So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about business structures, the options that are available to you as budding entrepreneurs, a little bit about the formation and the registration process, primarily with the LLC, the limited liability company. We're going to discuss New Jersey state regulations, taxes. When you're an entrepreneur and you're getting started and you're working for yourself, it's a little bit different than what you might be used to, and getting a paycheck and having your withholdings taken care of for you. Funding and cash management is always an important topic for a startup. How much is it going to cost to start the business? What do you need to open those doors? Can you self-finance the project? Do you need outside financing? These are all questions that we can explore together. And what additional needs are you that you possibly should be looking for as a startup, whether it be speaking to an SBA lender or utilizing the services of an accountant, a lawyer. We're going to talk about some of the other resources available for a small business owner as they're getting started. And then opportunity and growth. You get started, then what? What happens next? Here at the NJSBDC, not only are we here for your startup needs, but you could be well underway and looking for advice on sales growth, profitability, measures, how to become more profitable, government contracting, anything that really involves you and your business, we're here to assist. Okay, so moving on. So in terms of business structure, we're going to talk about the options that are available to you. So the most basic business structure is you, the person conducting business on behalf of yourself, the sole proprietorship. You are selling a good, you're providing a service, and you're collecting fees for the good or service. Once you receive those fees and the transaction takes place, you conducted business. And the simple way to do it, if you're just acting on behalf of yourself, is to register yourself as a sole proprietor with the Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. You may use a Social Security number. You don't need to get a separate tax ID, but you can. Sometimes we say it's probably best in this day and age that even if you are only just operating as a sole proprietor, why not go and get the tax ID from the IRS? It is absolutely free. It does not cost anything to get an EIN. That's what they're called, Employer Identification Number. And that way, if you are asked for your tax ID and you're filling out paperwork or you're doing a W-9, you don't have to always be throwing around your Social Security number for anybody to see. So it is a good idea, but it is not required. You're perfectly allowed, and it's perfectly acceptable to use a personal bank account to deposit all your transactional money. Hello? Did something happen?
Hi, Vanessa. What's up? We can hear you. Can you unmute? We can see you. We get your audio, and we're able to see your slides.
Okay. That was very strange. Someone doesn't want to discuss sole proprietors, I suppose. My whole screen went blank. All right, so you heard me the whole time. Okay, let me pick up where I left off. Okay, that was Very weird. That's never happened before. Okay. So, all good. I'm going to continue. So, you're perfectly allowed to use your personal bank account to transact business. Income from your business is passed through to your personal tax return. You can use a Schedule C attachment to your personal tax return. No separate tax filing is required. Schedule C is a very simple one-pager. You can reflect all your sales, your expenses. And, the one thing that the downside in all of this, as simple as it may seem, is that there is no legal separation between you and the business. That means that anything that could potentially happen in the course of doing business, you are liable. You could potentially open yourself up to risk in terms of your own personal liability as well as your personal assets. So there's no protection, I would say. So, so there's certain types of businesses that may work well for sole proprietorship, but if you're in something that is a little bit more open to potential liability problems, you would want to consider something else. And that's why we have this beautiful limited liability company. So the limited liability company has the simplicity and the flexibility of a sole proprietorship. However, you have the protection of the more, you have some liability protection. You're considered a business entity now that is separate from you personally. So what's nice about the LLC is that it doesn't cost very much to form. And I have to backtrack. I got very sidetracked by that weird glitch. Let me just say one thing about the sole proprietorship. When I say an expensive one-time fee, about $50, $60 at the county clerk's office. So again, not terribly expensive. And that is only if you wish to apply for a trade name. So let's say that you're a sole proprietor, you're operating, but you don't want to go by, Vanessa Schwartz as you're operating. You have a fun name. You're thinking of something that you want to do. In order to represent yourself under a doing business as or a trade name, as it's called, at your county clerk, you can pay $50, $60 to obtain that name. And that way, then you can represent yourself under a trade name. Otherwise, you would just be operating under your own name. Okay, so the limited liability company, $125 to open a limited liability company, plus a $350 processing fee. All can be done online. No need to go to the county clerk's office. Now we're dealing exclusively with the New Jersey Business Portal through the Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. And we are required as LLCs to get a EIN from the IRS. So a separate tax ID is obtained from the IRS website. Again, it is completely free. It must match the legal business name of the LLC. So now you will be getting a unique business name, legal business name in the state of New Jersey. Nobody else can have that exact name. Whereas the trade name on the sole proprietor, I think as long as it's unique within your county, you're fine. At the LLC, you are basically creating a separate business entity from yourself. And that now requires a separate business bank account. That is what allows for that ability to kind of disassociate yourself from the business, give you that liability protection, and allow for all your transactions to be handled and transmitted through that business bank account. You're not to commingle your personal funds with your business funds. Now, having said that, once you transact business, the money is deposited into the account. You're the business owner. You can withdraw, deposit as you need, but the check should be made out straight to the business, or any kind of cash funds that are received as a result of the transaction should be deposited into the business bank account. Now, the interesting thing about the LLC is that there is flexibility on how you choose to be taxed. And this is income tax we're talking about. So if you're a single member, meaning one person in the LLC, you will file the Schedule C. Now, if you recall, Schedule C is the same tax filing requirement as the sole proprietor. So your default as a single member LLC business owner is that of the taxation method of the sole proprietor, which is very nice because you have the flex, you have the liability protection, and you have the ease of the tax filing. Now, if you're more than one person, it's known as a multi-member LLC. And that is more often than not, or as you're starting out with more than one person, you'll default to the Form 1065. The IRS Form 1065 is a partnership tax filing. It doesn't mean that you're a partnership. Partnerships have their own other types of, the legal explanation of what a partnership entails. It just means that you are being taxed as a partnership. You're using the same tax filing method that a partnership would use, and that's the Form 1065. Or you may choose to be taxed as a corporation. And we'll talk a little bit about why somebody might want to do that, but that's the Form 1120. More often than not, if you're a single member LLC and you're getting started, you're going to just default to the Schedule C tax filing, which is a very simple way to get your income taxes filed. Now, on the most strongest liability protection on that continuum is the corporation. Now, as a corporation, you must establish bylaws. There's more to do. There's more maintenance. There's more legal requirements to run a corporation. There is the requirement to have create a board of directors. You are expected to hold shareholder meetings, and the corporation is going to file a separate tax return for itself. So that is as if it's its own living, breathing thing. It runs into perpetuity. It doesn't, die off with the owners. It is a living, breathing business entity, if you will, and it has a separate tax return, which means that the corporation in and of itself is subject to corporate tax rate. So once it establishes a net income, it gets corporate tax rate is applied to the income. Whatever's left over is basically distributed amongst the shareholders, and shareholders then must pay taxes on their dividends or their profits from their ownership. That's why it's often referred to as a double taxation whammy, and as a small business, that really doesn't make much sense. But there are reasons why small businesses engage in incorporation. Small businesses that are in fields or industries that are more subject to litigation, maybe more risky, more apt to be required to be incorporated in order to receive contracts from different vendors. There are certain reasons why a small business may need to incorporate, but there are options in order to alleviate some of the tax issue as a small business being faced with the double taxation, and that's the S corp. And we're going to talk about the S corp, your option to be an S corp in that respect for tax purposes. Now, both the LLC and the corporation, again, the formation takes place online, and you get the tax. The EIN is always from the IRS, and ultimately, I just want to make sure everybody understands that no matter which business structure you pick, whether you decide to be a sole proprietor, whether you decide to form an LLC, whether you create articles of incorporation and incorporate, once the actual decision is made and the structure is in place, New Jersey requires you to then register that business. So it is not sufficient just to pick one of these options, become an LLC or become a corporation and then transact. The last step, and it doesn't cost anything, is to register, and that's done through the New Jersey registration. That's the last piece of the puzzle there in terms of what your requirements are to transact business is the NJ registration. Okay, so the S Corp. So S corporations aren't so much business structures as their tax designations. So when people say they're an S Corp, it really means either they're a corporation that has filed for subchapter S under the IRS code, or they're an LLC that has chosen to be taxed as a corporation, and then uh, in doing so, applied to be subchapter S under the IRS code. So S Corp options for corporations just means that you incorporate because that's what's best for you. And you apply for the S Corp option, and now that eliminates that double taxation. You don't have a corporate tax rate to deal with. The profit is completely passable into the shareholders, the owners are now responsible straight to their personal income tax returns. And it, 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 there are some stipulations. You cannot be more than 100 shareholders in order to have this option. Only common if you're a corporate entity, only if you have preferred stock or other types of stock, it's not going to be permitted. But if it's just a common stock corporate structure, then the S Corp option works for you and you avoid that double taxation. Now, if you're an LLC, remember we talked about your Schedule C filer or your multi-member LLC, you decide to do the partnership tax filing, the 1065. Remember that was that third option. LLCs can choose to be taxed as corporations. Now, why would you do that? There are instances when, as LLCs, business owners get to a point where it might be more tax advantageous and more appropriate and shielding of the income tax by choosing S Corp option for an LLC. That is a decision that you would make with an accountant or with your own research. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on your tax bracket. It depends on how much income what threshold, how much income your business is making, and whether you're filing jointly with a spouse or a partner, because it would have to do with the entire tax picture that you'd need to evaluate if it is more advantageous. But basically what happens is, remember, as an LLC owner, you're the owner of the business. You're not an employee of your company. You're the owner. You withdraw your income from the profits. And in doing so, you are responsible for paying income taxes as a self-employed individual. And that gives all the tax burden to you as the owner. LLCs that choose to be taxed as S Corps are allowed to start payroll, and they're allowed to, as owners, put themselves on the payroll and pay them as a business expense. So that lowers your net income by having a payroll option to pay your salary. And it also allows you to split payroll expenses between yourself, the employee, and yourself, the employer. And as the employer, your burden of the payroll taxes are deductible. So there's some accounting in there that kind of works at, got to compare the bottom lines of when that might be most appropriate. That is not something that we would ever be able to run through with you. You'd have to talk to your accountant to see if it made the most sense. Okay, so now let's go beyond taxes. Let's just talk about formation and registration right now. Okay, formation and registration, limited liability company. This is what we're here for. We're here to walk you through this process. We want you to get it right the first time. We do not want you to pay hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to a third party to form your LLC and then not understand what happened and not have it done the right way, or to leave certain things out. We will guide you and assist you through the process. We will form the business with you. We will get your tax ID, and then we will do that last piece that we talked about, the registration. Remember, the only cost is the state filing fee of $125 plus the $350 processing fee. Now, why is this important? It is very critical, in my opinion, and I think many would agree, that if you're going to open a business and you're going to run a business, you have to understand the the mechanism of how you're operating, that you are what you are, what rules apply to you as a business owner, what the terminology is in terms of when you're, like just something even as simple as, picking how you wish to be taxed, or what is a member? Member means owner. And when you're forming and going through the process of the NJ portal, you're understanding the mechanism of the limited liability company, and you're understanding where to go if you have questions on the state portal. That is a very important website as business owners. It has all the information there. Oh, look at that. Why don't we go take a look? See if it opens up. So you really want, when you hand this to somebody else, very often you're not paying attention to what's going on, and you're a little bit in the dark. So when something doesn't go right, or you have a question, you're not the one who did it. And so it's always helpful, I think, to walk through with a business counselor and understand how to navigate these sites. Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. I'm on this site like 5 times a day at least. Your business filings and records, how to become a woman. These are the certifications. You can be small business, minority, woman, veteran, disabled veteran. You can see LGBTQ. How to, this is where we'll go to actually, form the business, form and register your business, file your annual report. So very often what happens is when you go ahead and let somebody else do it, you get a bunch of papers at the end of the process, and then you have no idea what you did. So let us walk you through it. Let us make sure you understand it. We'll make sure that you have it all organized. And, and then again, we'll make sure that this is on the next slide here, that we walk you through the actual registration of it as well. The registration is where they really get into all the questions about, will you be collecting sales tax? What other things do we need to know about your business that may require some additional information? So walk you through that. And then also, this is kind of new to the game. The federal government now requires each LLC that's formed to file what's known as a beneficial ownership information report. It's pretty self-explanatory. We'll send you the link. We'll make sure you have what you need and you understand what you have to do. It doesn't take more than a couple of minutes. But there are some people who have asked, hey, can you just stay on the phone with me while I do it so I make sure I do it right? No problem. We've done that. It's very tricky because you will get a bunch of notices in the mail asking you to send information to a third party and charge you $150 to file your BOIR report. And if you don't do this ASAP, you're going to be fined $10,000 and put in jail. I kid you not. You may see very scary type notices like that. Once you form a business, then, lots of stuff comes in initially. It slows down after a while, but everyone's trying to sell you a service. It doesn't cost anything to file a BOIR. It takes about 5-10 minutes of your time. It's not the most clear thing of what they're asking, but it's nothing, a name, address, driver's license, or passport picture, just a form of identification. Federal government wants to know who owns the LLC and wants proof of it. This has been a result of a number of issues, I guess, in the past, with LLCs being primarily regulated on the state level, and the federal government not really having much involvement. I mean, beyond, of course, the IRS, supposedly, taking in the taxes from the businesses. But in terms of the financial crimes from the federal government, there's been so many instances, I think, of money laundering and shell companies and whatnot. They now like to keep their own database of what LLCs are being formed. So that's what that is. So if you see very scary mail that comes in and is threatening, it's a shame on them. Yes, it has to be done, but don't let that freak you out, and don't go spend unnecessary money. That's the link. That's where you'll go. We'll make sure you know what to do. And right now you have 90 days to do it after you register. So when you go to form your LLC, there's certain things you're going to need to know. You need to have a unique business name in New Jersey. I think we talked about that already, but I'm going to show you. There's this nice little business name search. Again, you're all found on the portal where you can search, and there's all sorts of search types. You can search by business name keywords. If you're looking up to see or name availability, I'll do name availability. And I'm going to be sample business. And let's see if that's available. Okay. Sample business is available. If I want to be sample business LLC, I can do that. So this is something you need to play around with because you want to make sure that your name is available. And then we're going to need to get the EIN. I can't say it enough that it is free. I know I repeat myself a lot, but it's confusing. There's a lot of stuff going on. And you need to know that if you're ever on the website and you think you're getting a EIN, and somehow at the end of that process, you find yourself taking out a credit card, you went to the wrong place. Abort, close it down, start over. IRS.gov. It does not cost anything to get an EIN. And I have personally experienced how you can easily get looped into something that looks like a government website, but it's not. So what happens is if you did do that, no one's stealing your money per se. I mean, it's a scam because it's free. But what they'll do is they'll take your money, they'll take all your information, they'll get your EIN, and then they'll mail it to you months later. Whereas the IRS, the online application for the EIN, it's instant. As soon as if you receive your notification online, as soon as you hit submit, it generates automatically your tax ID number. You print it out and you're done. You'll need your industry codes, both the NICS code, that's the North American Industry Classification System, and you'll need a New Jersey industry code. It'll pop up when we're going through the process. We can look through it. We can pick the code that best explains or describes the business that you're doing. This is for statistical purposes in the business formation phase. New Jersey likes to have a sense of what types of industries are being opened, and it also could affect down the road if you are deciding whether you want to do contracting. It does help to identify you as a business, what in the industry that you're in. Now, New Jersey registered agent. Every LLC needs a registered agent. That is the representative who is the liaison between the state, Department of the State, Trenton, and yourself. Now, you can be your own registered agent in New Jersey. When that part of in the formation comes up, says who is your registered agent. If you want to be your own registered agent, you just put your information, your address. It just means that you're going to get all the mail. You'll get the solicitations. You'll be the point contact for the state if they ever had to reach you. Some people don't want to be that person. They don't want to have their address be the address of record. And so they hire a registered agent. Now, registered agent can serve that purpose. There are plenty to pick from. I've seen them for as little as $49 a year. They'll provide you the address, the contact, and that'll be sufficient for filing purposes. And they will scan all this mail, send it to you via email, but they'll be the point contact. So if anybody decides to sue you, they basically need to go to a place. I hate to use that example, but that's the best one I can think of. They need to be able to go knock on a door and hand you papers. So that's why it can't be a P.O. box. It can't be some, envelope in the middle of the grass in, Central Jersey. It has to be an actual physical brick and mortar location or your home. Now, if you're more than one person, you're a multi-member LLC, you need an operating agreement. Operating agreements do not have to be necessarily done by a lawyer. They don't have to necessarily be, they don't even have to be notarized, I don't believe. But you will be asked for an operating agreement when you go to open up your business bank account. If you're more than one person, you might be asked for it in other circumstances. You have to have it on your, you have to have it available if necessary. Now, what's in an operating agreement? Well, it's basically just the rules of the business. How much money is everybody investing? What's the profit sharing decision? How are we breaking up the profits? Who's responsible for what? And most importantly, if the business were to dissolve tomorrow, we would need to know how to distribute the assets. So that's kind of like the tricky one, right? I mean, everything's going well, but then all these legal documents, they come in play when things are not going so well, or things are a little bit, sticky. We don't know how, we have all these assets, we got to sell them off, who gets what. So it's important to have it spelled out. There are templates online. Rocket Lawyer has some templates that you can use. My advice is anything that's critical or worrisome when it comes to this type of legal document, because it's a legal document, but it's not a legal document. If you have any question, I would consult with an attorney and see if, especially if you're dealing with multiple people and not people you really know. Very important maybe to this is one example of where it is really important to maybe spend a little money and get it done correctly and make sure everybody is well represented. So you can use a debit or credit card for the online payment, and you'll need to know the name for all the owners, the names, addresses, and social security numbers of all the members or owners, and what percentage each of the members will have. That information gets inputted into the section of the process where we're doing the registration of the business. Okay. We'll need to know how you wish to be taxed. So that question comes up when we're registering. We already went through all of that. Those are your choices. You're going to need to know when we're registering if the sale of your goods or services are subject to state sales tax. Sales tax is what's added to any sales taxable item or service in the state that we all pay. We go into the store, we buy a pack of gum, we pay for the gum plus sales tax. Some things are subject to sales tax, and sometimes some things are not. So consumer products are typically subject to sales tax. So if you're selling jewelry or electronics or I don't know, anything basically that, we would say goods are typically subject to sales tax, but there are exceptions. So for example, apparel, basic apparel in New Jersey is not subject to sales tax. Whereas services, where we normally think of services not subject to sales tax, there are exceptions. Massages, if you go to like a Massage Envy, I think, or something like that. What else am I thinking of? Housekeeping services, commercial cleaning, residential cleaning. You would think of those as being services, but they are subject to sales tax. So we have a booklet. New Jersey publishes the Division of Taxation, what's exempt, what's taxable. So if you have any questions, you can look through it, and we can always hash it out too if you want to make an appointment and talk about it. And then some businesses require additional registrations and certifications. A general contractor needs to have a general contractor registration. A home health aide has to have a license. Certain nail techs, cosmetology, or hair, food safety. So New Jersey has certain regulations on certain industries, and we can certainly show you where to look that up. The New Jersey Business Action Center has a whole licensing guide, and we can walk you through that if you have questions. And then you'll want to identify a bank where you're going to open your business bank account. Hopefully you find a bank that does not charge any fees. We don't want to have monthly fees as a small business, but you do need to get a business bank account opened and, shop around, see who will give you a deal. Either have a minimum threshold in the account, or some will give you a break from fees if you spend or utilize your debit card a certain number of times a month. So check it out. I mean, the last thing you really need is to be dinged $20 a month out of your account, when you're trying to run a small business. When you answer the survey, you will get these slides. So you'll have access to all these lovely links. This is the licenses and registrations, sales tax requirements, what's subject to sales tax, what isn't, income tax, lovely income tax. So remember, self-employed individuals don't get withholdings from their profits. They have to set that up, both on the federal level and on the state level. So the IRS has a system to set up for entrepreneurs and small business owners to pay estimated income taxes. So does the Division of Taxation in New Jersey. It's heavy. I think they're trying to make it easier. If you have any questions about how this works and how to set up estimated, talk to an accountant. At a certain point, it's just better to know you're doing it correctly than not. I mean, certainly at the end of the year, if you've overpaid and you're doing your taxes, you'll get money back. If you've underpaid, you'll owe. You will be penalized if over time you're not paying into your estimated tax burden. The government does not wish to wait till April 15th to get 12 months worth of their income taxes from you. So it is something you'll have to learn about and look into once you're self-employed. And if you have questions about hiring employees versus independent contractors, these are the types of things to consider. Whether you're going to start a payroll, that's the W-2, W-4 paperwork, or the independent contractor. That's when the independent contractor fills out a W-9, and you as the person offering the contract will issue a 1099 for that individual at the end of the year. Insurance is always a question. Workers' compensation could be a question if you have employees. Talk to your agents. Insurance agents are there to help. They're there to sell you insurance, but let them educate you. You don't have to buy. You can shop around. There's some sites, online sites too, that for small businesses, you can kind of compare and contrast. But, that's always a question. And it's something that, if you want to bounce off ideas with your SBDC counselor, we can certainly, try to point you in the right direction and give you some thoughts on that. Funding. So let me just talk a little bit about funding. I mean, anytime you start a business, you're going to have some form of a startup cost analysis. How much money do you need to have or raise or at your fingertips in order to open the doors? And that's what I call the startup. That's really, I'm sure that's what everyone calls it, the startup cash need. It's not really anything fancy, but it's your project cost basically. And when you can really think that through and really, realistically be able to plan for what you're going to need, you can decide, okay, is this something that I can fund myself? Is this something I'll fund a certain percentage of it, but maybe best to look into outside financing, whether it be, private investments, private equity, venture capital, SBA lending, small business loans, micro loans. I mean, any questions you have on financing, we're your people. Call us, we'll talk it through. We're not the lenders, we're not the bankers, but we will prep you for lending. We will write your business plan with you. We will get your income projections ready to present to a lender. And we'll run that whole analysis with you, whether, from your own personal budget versus how to potentially source from outside, at least get you to a point of thinking about what it is you need to present, either to a lender, to an investor. Important factors in lending will be your experience in the business that you're working within. Your credit rating is really going to be important. How much of your own personal capital that you're willing to invest, your skin in the game. And as mentors, we really hope to educate you and offer you some webinars and some counseling on basic financial statement understanding. What is an income statement? What is a balance sheet? You know, these are types of things that they're boring and they're not fun inherently here, but they are really, really important, because if you don't understand your cash flows, you may not be as successful in being profitable. And that's the whole point. You're not doing this for the fun of it. You're doing this to make money. And so if you're not taking in more than you're spending, you're operating at a loss. And it's okay. Some businesses take time to turn a profit, but that can be very calculated and planned. But if you never know from day one to day two if you're making money or not, then over time you're spending a lot of money and you don't have much to show for it. So we want to make sure you understand that, and we offer counseling in that, and also there's a ton of webinars in our library that have gone through these types of things in the past to help educate all our small business owners. Bookkeeping will be important, whether you want to use a notebook, an Excel spreadsheet, QuickBooks. We've offered QuickBooks classes in the past at no cost. I'm not sure if we'll do that again, but we will try to point you in the right direction and what you're most comfortable in terms of keeping your finances neat and orderly. And then the additional needs. We're going to be very honest when we think you need an accountant, a lawyer, insurance agent. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer, not a lender. I'm not an insurance agent. I know a little bit about it all, but we're going to tell you, we understand where the expertise and the professional services are going to come into play. And we'll be honest about that. We do have marketing and social media strategists who are counselors who are more focused on that side of the aisle. So we can hook you up with somebody who can give you some guidance on, maybe the best bang for your buck for our advertising, marketing, maybe some leads and where to go. But we're here to be business mentors and help you through and kind of just be here for you through all your steps. We'll do your state certifications if you're interested in government contracting. And again, we'll introduce you to the SBA lenders if you're looking for financing. And as always, we always like to promote the NJEDA. They're an excellent resource, njeda.gov. Always out there with programming, low interest loans, grants for small businesses. Looking if it applies for you, we'll always be available to maybe assist you with that application or put you in a good spot. And with that, we're going to turn it over to a couple of questions. And just so you know, you can register for counseling, one-on-one counseling. If you've never been in business before and you're brand new and you need to start, this will kind of catapult you up to the new business starts people, led by me in this case. And then if you're already in business and you're just somebody who wants to go over any of the topics we discussed and needs a mentor or a counselor, you can request counseling and you'll be directed to your home center and introduced to a counselor. So with that, we'll open it up to some questions.
Thank you, Vanessa. Before we go right into the questions, the Q&A session, I just want to remind everyone, just a reminder that I also sent in the chat just now, a couple of minutes ago, that if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box. If you'd like to see and receive the slides that Vanessa just shared, then please complete our brief survey. That's number 2 in the reminder. Once you complete that, it's a Google Forms really quickly. Just tell us what you like, what you want to see from us, any webinar topics, Once you complete that, hit submit, you'll get a new, on the screen, it will give you the link. I believe it's Google Slides, and you can use that to view. And then the last number 3 is just that the webinar recording will be available on the following link that's provided, or our YouTube channel if you are following us there. All right, so Vanessa, we'll address the questions in the order that we received them. So the first, I think I will partially answer, and then you let us know also what your thoughts are. Parker asked, how do you set up a nonprofit, and do you always need a board? If so, how many members are needed at the minimum? Now at the NJSBDC Parker, because we are a pseudo-governmental agency and we are partially sponsored by the SBA, Small Business Administration, as that sort of agency, we are not allowed to help nonprofits as a nonprofit ourselves and a pseudo-governmental agency. So our consultants can provide guidance on how to set up an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, anything else, but a nonprofit, we are unable to. There are some exceptions. For example, if your nonprofit is in the business of helping other small businesses, and there are a lot of details that go into it. So if you'd like to set up a nonprofit for yourself, we'd love to refer you over to our partners at WCEC or our sister organization, SCORE. We can put that in the chat, but Vanessa, if you would like to partially answer on how to set it up or any insight that you have there.
Yes, definitely. So it is a little bit of a gray area. If you were to say, just get me on the phone and that we had our first consultation and you asked me about that, I certainly would give you some of the technical, I'd give you a technical consultation and say, yes, okay, this is what you do, this is where you would go, this is what you need. We could even assist you with if you're going to be a nonprofit corporation. What we really don't do beyond that, besides the technical piece of it, is we won't go through the filing for the tax exemption. So, you know, with any nonprofit, you have to decide if you're going to be a corporation first or an association. So once that's done, and incorporating is just an online, just like we incorporate a business, you can incorporate a nonprofit. It's all done through the portal. Where you become the nonprofit is when you go to the IRS and you file that 1023 federal tax exemption application. That's not something we would do, but we would certainly, you know, I've shared that link with people in the past who've had questions about that. And I think to answer your question, it's 3 board. You need a minimum of 3 board of trustees to if you're going to do a corporate nonprofit.
All right, thank you. Next question is from Lisa. Lisa asks, is there a credit for the LLC registration, especially women-owned businesses?
No, unfortunately, there is no way around the $125 state filing fee. If that's what you're asking about, the state filing fee, yeah, everybody has to pay the $125.
Okay, Lisa, if that doesn't answer your question, definitely feel free to expand on it as a follow-up to your question itself. All right, next question is from Anonymous. Are sales tax applicable when you provide graphic design?
Graphic design. I'd have to look that up. Check out that link. I'll show you. When you go, I just want to show you because this is important. And I do want to say that there are certain industries that can get very complicated. Digital media, print, you know, even myself, some things I remember from working with clients, some things I have to constantly go back. But you're going to see here you go here and you can see, this might be these services. Now, these are goods. You see exempt. This is, exempt. This is taxable. That's exempt. That's taxable. So you could be in an industry that is a combination of both. And I will give you an example. You could be a photographer who does a sitting session with somebody. I won't keep scrolling through here, but you get the point. Like, you can look it up here. And they even do have special separate, even like subsidiary subsections, excuse me, of the tax of different industries, like digital media being one of them, is that a photographer's sitting session is not taxable, but once they go to sell you the prints, the actual prints, and you take ownership of them, that would be subject to sales tax. So I'm sorry, I'm not answering your question specifically. Right off the top of my head, I'd really want to know a little bit more about what you mean. Is it in digital form? Is it not in digital form? We would have to look it up and analyze it looking at the taxation papers from the booklet.
Thank you. I think we have a similar question to the sales tax, so we'll just address that while we're there. Kiki asked, are sales tax applicable when you are a company selling digital courses, as well as other digital products such as ebooks?
Yes, definitely. So rule of thumb is that anything that would be subject to sales tax in physical form is subject to sales tax in digital form. So books are a perfect example. If you go to the bookstore, you go to Barnes & Noble, you go to the cash register, you pay for the book plus tax. That book online, cost of the book plus tax. So that has been the rule of thumb up until now, that if it's taxable in physical form, it's taxable in digital form.
Good, thank you. We have a couple of questions and a couple of people interested in the nonprofit thing that the topic that we just talked about. And so do you know a website where our attendees can go to find out more about the nonprofit board of directors? How many are needed, required, what the rules are? Any state government website or anything that they can go to, Vanessa?
I wish I could just give you a name and say, go to blah.com. I have actually engaged in this research myself and trying to help clients with their initial technical stuff and learning on my own. And if you just Google, there's a ton of information out there on and write-ups on the structural setup of a nonprofit, and they do vary by state. So there is stuff on the New Jersey site that'll go into, but remember the exemption is on a federal level. The corporate structure is done by state. So I hate to refer you to Google, I really do, but there's a wealth of information online, and I've learned a lot of that in my reading and my research. And I do know that it's the board of trustees, you need a minimum of 3, and you need 1 incorporator, and it costs $75 to incorporate in New Jersey. What else do I know about that?
I just, Vanessa, as you said, you can do a quick search on Google. I found a link, and I just put State of New Jersey, State of NJ nonprofit organization. That was my search. And I found the link, which is the nj.gov link, and I just put that in the chat. So now the title of that is nonprofit information, and just skimming what I just looked at this is the information center portal where they say invaluable resource for any nonprofit seeking to operate in New Jersey. So that will provide you with information, and there are lots of links here. I'm just perusing quickly. And there's lots of hyperlinks there that I think our audience can check out.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so definitely check that out. And while we're talking about links, I'm sort of jumping here, but I'm seeing it as they come in. So can you just go back to the link that you showed, the exemption list,
For sales tax?
sales tax requirements? All right. So Sangamitra, you just asked that question. So when you get the slides, when you do the survey and you get the slides, go to that slide over there. And if you can just go back quickly to it, Vanessa, the
Oh.
slide itself.
The slide itself? Okay.
Yep. So it's the New Jersey state regulations taxes. It's the second bullet point, sales tax requirements. And again, it's the nj.gov website. So you can go there and check it out.
If you're a
And
photographer, I'm just going to say, if you're a photographer or digital media, there is a separate booklet or a separate couple of pages that are just on those industries that you would just have to do just do sales tax, New Jersey state sales tax, digital media. You'll see the similar booklet come up. This is a little subset of it. It's separate.
got it. All right, so hopefully that answers all the sales questions. We'll get to some after if there are any. All right, next question is from Fabian. If my employees only have the ITIN number and not the SSN, what kind of form do I need to hire them legally?
No, they just have to have the ITIN is the tax ID number. That's fine. They can use that.
All right.
I mean, I'm not going to speak to anything else relating to their situation or their status, but if you have an ITIN number, that is a tax ID number, and you can use that to contract, and you use that to start a business. You can that is a tax ID number in the US.
All right. Next question is from Jessica, and Vanessa, you tell us how this works for you. I sort of have an answer, but you let us know. So Jessica says, I registered for counseling right before the seminar. Should I scan this QR code and register for Vanessa? She was so great, would love to connect. So Jessica has already registered, but would you want her to register again at the website, the first link?
I don't think she can register again, but you know what? I'm gonna just, for everybody's sake, I'm gonna put my email address in the chat. So if you have something you want to, like for Jessica, just shoot me an email, and then I can look up, and I can fix it on my end if you want me. That sounds silly, but I appreciate that.
Usually,
nice.
Yeah, usually what we like to tell our attendees, our audience, is that whenever you register as a client to speak with any consultant for any issue, please be very specific in your description. So for example, you wanted to speak with me for, let's say, the tech team, and you go to register for the tech team, and you say, hi, I attended this webinar. Uzma was hosting. It was very informational. I'd like to speak to a tech team consultant. So in there, you just said all the buzzwords, the tech team, you attended the webinar. So even if your request goes to some other center, they will know how to filter you through to me or the tech team. And that way we can help each other out. Same process here as well. All right, so Vanessa just put her email address in the chat. Next question is from Danelli. I did the business name search and the name I wanted to use is not available. The spelling was similar. Does that mean I cannot use this name I want at all, even though the businesses are different?
You cannot use that exact name, no. However, it doesn't take much to alter what you're doing to make it unique. So sometimes if you just add a word at the end of it, even if like the first few words are the same, you want to keep that phrase or whatever, but you add the word I can't even think right now, but you add one little word at the end. It'll make it unique. So you can play with it. You'll see that it's not that strict. You just cannot have an identical match. Or sometimes they'll say it's too close to something else. So it's not just that you can't have identical match. It just can't be too close. But adding a complete, say like a business name is 2 words, and you add a completely different third word to the end of it, that could be enough to get you unique enough.
All right, moving on to the next question. Tanya asked, can you talk briefly about how to do a DBA?
Sure. The portal, right on the portal, it's called Filing an Alternate Business Name. It costs $50 for 5 years to have an alternate business name, so it's relatively inexpensive. So if you have an LLC with that has a legal business name, but you also want to have what's known as a DBA, which means that you have something else that you're doing under that LLC umbrella that might differentiate a little bit, and you would like to market it in a way that explains what it is, or you just want it to be verbally different or separate from your main business. You can apply for. In New Jersey, it's called an alternate. If you see the word alternate business name, that's what it is, the DBA, and you just put it in. Remember, it's not tied to your tax ID. The only thing that's tied to your tax ID is your legal business name. It's just merely a trade name, and you're allowed to use it. And it's $50 for 5 years. And you would let the bank know as well. And that way they know. I think you can, let's just say I think that allows you to write a check to the alternate business name, and they would know that it can be deposited into the main business account.
All right, thank you. Next question is from Kiki. If someone has already registered their business where sales tax was not applicable because it was a consulting service business, but later decided to sell products, how can we change the sales tax application selection?
Oh, yes, that's perfectly okay to do. You just amend your registration, and there's a place to say, hey, I'm going to now, start charging sales tax, and they should send you a certificate of authority. That's a sales certificate of authority that gives you the authority to charge sales tax. It gives you the authority, and then also make exempt purchases for your inventory. So it's just a matter of amending your registration.
Right. And next question is from William. Can you touch on registering for the BRC, which is the Business Registration Certificate to do business in New Jersey?
Yep, that's the NJ reg. That's that third piece everybody forgets and doesn't remember to do. When you're forming an LLC, when you're done, when you do the online process, there is a little area at the bottom that says that congratulations, you formed your LLC, and then it'll say continue to register. And that's what we click, and we move on to continue to register. If you fail to do it and you never did it, you go to the portal and you you go to NJ registration. You plug in your certificate of formation number, you plug in your tax ID. Those 2 numbers are what identify you. Your information will come up, and then you proceed with the online business registration. It's the NJ Reg, New Jersey Business Registration, NJ Portal. It's all found. If you go to the portal, it's all there.
Got it. We have 2 more questions on the block, and then it is 1:15, so we'll wrap this up with the last 2 questions. First question, if I have a clothing business, can I do a DBA for a food business?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Yep. If I have a clothing business, can I do a DBA for a food business?
Sure.
All right, short and simple. Anonymous, I have a small business, I want it to grow. What's the path for that? What kind of counseling should I apply for?
So you're already in business, and you're just looking for next steps and growth. So I'll tell you typically well, first of all, to answer your question, I would just go ahead and request counseling right down here. See, you're already in business. When it says the explanation of what you want assistance with, but write a sentence. You can comment that you're already in business, you're looking for ways to grow, and you'll probably go through a consultation where you'll discuss your current business structure and what drivers are available to you to grow your sales. And that's the kind of consultation that I would normally do, is go through each of the drivers, see where there's room for expansion. Question is, is it a marketing thing? Is it an advertising thing? Do you need to come up with a new service? Do you need to, there's all different types of counseling that can be involved in business growth. And so, just request counseling, talk to your counselor, and go from there.
Exactly. And let me just share my screen again, and I will show everybody where they can find out more about us, which is our website. So just quickly, NJSBDC.com is the place to go and the place to be for the resources. So, but right before that, Vanessa, thank you so much for the presentation and for the Q&A. I hope everyone found it helpful. Please be sure to provide us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so njsbdc.com, this is our homepage. If the first thing that you will see is if you'd like to request counseling, this is again general counseling. Put in your email the county that you're from in New Jersey, and you will be able to go through a quick application process where you can fill out the information to the best of your knowledge and as accurately as possible. And you will be directed to one of our 11 regional centers, depending on the county you selected. Please note that this general counseling that we provide is for New Jersey small business owners and New Jersey residents. There is an exception for one of our specialty team, which is a tech team, where we provide counseling to any small business owners nationwide. But for general counseling, it is for New Jersey residents and small business owners only. Something that I recommend, if you have just 2-3 minutes free out of your day, please take that time. If you'd like to learn more about your business and how to help your own business, just take a couple of minutes, go through our website, go through NJEDA's website even, and go through the resources and data, upcoming events, webinars and events that are happening, just like this one that you're attending. All our webinars, NJ Thrives webinars, are around this time from 12 to 1, 12 to 1:30. We try to do that around lunchtime, just in case people can attend and have free time. Something that I do want to share quickly is you go to events right here, NJ Thrives Small Business Webinars. The link that I've been sharing throughout the webinar has been the video library that we've been talking about. So today's webinar was recorded. It will be available on this website in a couple of days, probably just a day or two, and definitely sign up for our newsletters. And the last and the most recent webinar that we had was this. And if you scroll and load more, there will be hundreds and hundreds of webinars that come up, because we've been doing NJ Thrives webinars for, I believe, 2-3 years now, on all sorts of topics. So just take a quick look. These same webinars are also available on our YouTube channel. If you'd like to view and register our upcoming events, go to this button. Something else that I just want to quickly share is go to events, statewide events. And this is the entire calendar for our entire network. So on all sorts of topics, all the locations, the formats, everything you'll find here. You'll also find that we provide counseling and webinars and events, training workshops in Spanish. For example, this one. So if you'd like to receive counseling in Spanish, please let us know when you register. And we have events that happen, classes in person or online in Spanish as well. So just keep an eye out. All right, so that is our website. We have a toolkit, we have resources, things that like that, that you can check out, whether they're federal, New Jersey related, local, etc. All right, so if you stuck with us this far along, thank you so much for your support. We always appreciate you attending and referrals. Upcoming webinar this Thursday on June 27th, Elevating LGBTQ plus owned small businesses. Again, same time as always, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. or 12 p.m. to 1. If you are an LGBTQ plus owned small business struggling to get the support, or if you are just an ally looking to support this kind of business, please attend. Please share this with family members, with friends. And yeah, we will have Gus who's the executive director for the NJ Pride Chamber of Commerce. He will be our guest speaker. All right, so we are here to support you. Vanessa and her team are here to support you. If you'd like to register your business, our entire network is here to help you grow, start, grow, and thrive. We hope to see you on Thursday. Vanessa, thank you so much. And all our audience, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So nice to be with everybody today.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.